So 1 Samuel 15. Verse 3. We'll start at 2. This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they came up out of Egypt. Now, go, attack the Amalekites and totally destroy everything that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men, women, children, and infants, cattle, sheep, camels, and donkeys. Jesus says, I am the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Do you know this Jesus? Do you know the Jesus that spoke these words? Let's go through a little history lesson here. From Genesis to the flood, God gave his word to be spoken from patriarch, family to family. There was no Bible. So Adam and Eve, all the way to the flood, they were to tell and give God's instructions verbally. 1,656 years later, God says, I'm grieved that I have made mankind. I am going to wipe them off the face of this earth. I am sending a flood. Noah, build an ark. 10 generations, word of mouth, did God no good because people, we are who we are. Sin took its effect. People chose rebellion, and God had to start all over. And the Jesus that was born of Mary, that Jesus, he destroyed the world with a flood. Yes, he destroyed the world with a flood. Then from the Exodus to AD 70, he gave Israel 30 Jubilee cycles to be great ambassadors. He took ignorant people that knew nothing about him and told them, I'm going to make you into a great nation. You will be my ambassadors. You will know me. We will have a relationship. You will go out and tell the world about me. AD 70, what happens? Israel failed. The Messiah came. They crucified him. God said, Israel, you'll be destroyed. The temple's destroyed, gone. God, constant. People, rebellious. 538 to 1798, where God gives the word. Tell me, are people any different? What are we doing with what we know? Our greatest treasure, next to God himself, this tells us about him. And as a Christian society, what are we doing about this? Is it changing our life? Are we experiencing God through reading this? See, God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And why God has to do things like this is because every generation is worse than the last. You remember when we did the study on the sixth commandment and we looked at Ezekiel 18 and 20 when God said the children lusted after the idols of the fathers? So children become worse than their wicked parents. If you have spent any time at all in reading the Old Testament, you will see a God who is wooing the hearts of his people and people saying, I don't want to hear it. I want to do what I want to do. Rebellious, wicked, sinful. And God does everything that he can to bring them around and to turn them. The repentance that we've been talking about for weeks from 2 Chronicles 7. When God cannot do any more to bring people around, he can do nothing else but bring destruction. Yeah, nothing else but bring destruction. Many become very distressed about the killing of children and infants because they are innocent. And yes, they are. How is that any different from what is happening to children today? Innocent children are affected by sin every day. God doesn't see time the way that we do. The innocent will get to spend eternity with God. They're a lot better off than you and I are. Babies and those that are not accountable, the Lord will take home with him. Not so for you and I who are accountable for our actions. We better be lining up with what God says. But the Bible reveals, as happened from Adam and Eve to what we have today, is that children are worse than their parents. They take the evilness of their parents and they multiply it. They are worse. And Paul tells us in the end, peoples will be lovers of themselves, boastful. They will hate their parents. They will love wickedness. We are there. We are at that place in time that we better be watchmen on the tower, because the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament is the same God, and what he says he is going to do, he is going to do. He says instead of worrying about people that can harm your body, you need to have fear for the one that has the power to put you in hell. Meaning that's what he is going to do. By the way, hell is not eternal. Hell is an event. That's another study, though. Don't let your mind go there. Go with me to Luke chapter 12. I want you to see that verse 12:4. Those of us that live in fear of what can happen, Jesus says, fear him who, after killing the body, has power to throw you into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. I had a really neat experience this week. Y'all know I teach preschool. And I love what God teaches me through the children. It's beyond the lessons that I learned there. But as I have been studying about, for this message and asking the Lord to give revelation, there was something that came so neat one day. As I was, during nap time is a very precious time where the children left for me to pat them to sleep. And it gives me an opportunity to pray for each one of them as I'm patting them. I'm praying over them, and I was thinking about my role at Cornerstone and how I relate differently to different children. And I'm like, Lord, that is a great way for me to see. So I want to share it with you this morning. My role at Cornerstone is a disciplinarian. And for the little bitty guys in the toddler class, we sometimes have little alligators in there. And so anytime one child bites another, I get called by the teacher to come and reprimand the child. So, I go over there and I use my very mean voice. And I only use my very mean voice when one child has hurt another, namely biting or yanking or shoving. And so some of those children, when they see me coming, they start screaming. They start crying. Even when the teacher picks up the phone and says, Miss Kincaid, would you come to our room? They already start crying. Time I get there, they're crying. And sometimes I feel really bad about that, but it's just how it is. Somebody's got to have the big stick. And I think that child, that's all they know of me. They know me as the mean lady who comes and gives them the what for. And I'm thinking if there was a person in that classroom and saw that, they would say, whoa. that lady is, a little stern. Then I have the children that are probably in the threes class, Miss Lexa's class, and at the end of the day when I have them all together, we play this game called Cookie Monster. I am the Cookie Monster, and they are the cookies, and I chase them and I eat them up. I eat their ears. And so as soon as they see me, can we play Cookie Monster? Yay, Miss Kincaid's here. It's her light day. We're going to play Cookie Monster. So some of them may have never seen this, what-for-ing lady because they've never bitten someone or they've never, hurt another child. They just know me now. And I think about those, Jesus, woohoo, hallelujah, beautiful sunrise. I love the beach, just that carefree, wonderful. They don't know that if they bite, they're going to get this. But then there are those, as the ones I was patting to sleep, that I know personally. Every day I am with them. I am already starting to have anxiety from leaving them. I just love these babies. They are something else. And at this point in the year, we have a bond from being with each other, from talking, from learning, from spending all these hours together. There is a bond. As soon as I get there, Miss Kincaid's here, woohoo! Are you staying late today? They want me to stay till 6 o'clock every day. And no, remember Thursday. How many days till Thursday? So every day, it's the same day. It's today your late day. Why can't you stay longer? Can you please just stay a little longer? That's, now, the ones over here, they don't ever say that. They're not so much there. In fact, as soon as I'm done reprimanding, the other one starts saying, bye. Like, you can leave now. The ones that see all of who I am and how I love, and the one, I bring treats, I love them. At this point in the school year, every one of them wants me to pat them. And I pat their backs or I pat their heads like this and put them to sleep like I would, a 6-month-old or an 8-month-old. And it's a precious time for me. I sit there and pray for each one and I sob, just praying that the Lord, that they will be mighty warriors for the Lord, that if time goes on, that their lives will be in God's service. And I just love them. And they tell me, Miss Kincaid, I love you so much. And each one has to have a hug. Sometimes I have to get away before nap time because it takes me 15 minutes to give everyone a hug and tuck them in and another 20 minutes to put them all to sleep. But it's part of just that precious, precious time of spending months, just an intimate time with kids. And that is where we choose where we want to be with God. 1 Samuel, kill everything. It's right here. If that's all you're ever going to want to know about God, if that there is, you read that and that's all, you can't go beyond that, what a small picture. Because all of the Bible tells about God. He doesn't do that if he didn't have alligators that he had to go and deal with. They're called predators. God deals with predators. He will not allow anyone. Each generation corporately cannot mess up a chance for the next generation to know him and to be a part of his kingdom. And because God's in charge of that, like any parent or a teacher in a classroom, you can't let one child bite all the kids and teach them how to bite. And that's why I go and discipline them, because left unchecked, they will all start biting each other, and it's a very hard thing to get rid of, children biting. And if the only thing that's going to cure that is biting them back, and well, I don't want to wind up in jail. So, all I have is a mean voice. And that usually does the trick. And so as they get to know me later on, they get to understand that I'm so much more than the mean lady that wags her finger at them and uses her mean voice. What do you know about the Jesus that you say you worship? Do you know the Jesus, the nurturing, loving, kind, compassionate God who wants to put his arms around you and love you. He is the God of the Old Testament. He is precious. And what he says in Zephaniah 3 is absolutely what I want to leave you with today. Turn there if you would. Hard little book to find, almost before the New Testament. Zephaniah 3, verse 17. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He will take delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Your God delights in you. He rejoices over you. Do you know that God personally? What you know and believe about God shapes who you are. Do you know this personal being who loves you with this kind of an affectionate, emotional love? He is Jesus. And I hope and pray that this is the God that you worship. I hope and pray that you know all of who God is. That it takes God a long time to reveal all that he is to us. He is so many things. We talked about the last couple of weeks all the names of God. Countless. Because he is so much. He is so many things. He is so huge. There is not one name that describes who he is. But Jesus, when I say Jesus, he's the God who rubs my back and quiets me with his singing. He's the God who delights in me. And I could hear the Lord saying, Letty, what these children, how they see you, is how you see me. That is how I see the Lord. I can't wait to get up and spend time with him. I rejoice, even if I'm tired, I will fight through my tired to get to my Jesus chair and get to the Word. I have to have that. And I'm like, that is so precious. I don't want to lose that. I never want to lose that. Like these children are excited about their teacher and love their teacher, that's how I want to be about my teacher forever. Lord, it's not enough. I don't want to leave. I don't want to go to work. I want to stay here with you. I want to keep reading. I want you to keep showing me. The Lord your God, he loves you and delights in you. And sweet family, I pray that this is who you see when you read the Word. May he bless you greatly as you experience him and get to know all of who he is.